So today is June 14th. I think we just come off the basis that the Fed funds rate has remained unchanged. Vol has still been incredibly low in the crypto space, and we're gonna talk macro, talk vol, and kicking it back to you.
All right. I'm Marty, Premia's in-host options trad. Right now, we're doing this competition, and I hope I'm winning. If I'm not winning, I'm doing something wrong. And today we have Ant. Ant, you want to give a little intro about yourself, what you do, what you like to trade, and how you got into the crypto Twitter?
Sure. So I'm at been on crypto Twitter at this point. December will be 10 years. I know that sounds insane because it is. I got into crypto Twitter because nobody in my real life actually cared about crypto. In 2013, December 2013, when I bought in at the low price of 800-ish Bitcoin, only to see it go down to roughly 150 over the course of the next year and a half. So sort of baptism by fire, buying a local top that looks amazing in hindsight. I pretty much like to these days trade a very streamlined list of coins. Tried the whole, 50 to 100 bags. One of them is get a 100x thing. Did well, but that was very much survivorship bias. Ended up realizing that couldn't be a bag holder forever. Have to learn how to trade. So been spending the last, let's say, 5 years actually learning how to trade. And the other 5 was just, a byproduct of just kind of sticking it out, right? So what I've been doing over the course of the last year is exploring options and exploring DeFi options in particular, because I think it's a growing space, and people close to me that I really respect their opinion have been telling me for a long time that options are kind of, the big toolbox for a technical trader. And that's the biggest thing I lean on is technicals. I'll get off the soapbox for the moment.
Nice. And what kind of options are you trading? Are you mainly trying to hedge out a spot bag? Are you speculating?
You're cutting in and out, but I would say that the main thing I'm trying to do is not be unidirectional, which is a bit ironic considering I have been extremely short and put heavy. But considering I started off this space just kind of unable to hit the red button and not really do anything besides de-risk and go to spot. What options have sort of allowed me to do is hit the red button, hit the put with an intention that something is going to go down at some point in time, right? And leaning on that technical edge. Do we want to sell local tops? Absolutely, right? But I'm good if it's a local top in hindsight 2 to 3 days, a week plus later. So the main thing I use it for is sort of expressing that market downside, because otherwise I just go back to being long only, and that's just not going to work all the time.
Yeah, right. So you can't. Can you guys hear me now? I'm on my headphones. Can you hear me,
Yep,
Ant?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You're solid. You just kind of blip in and out here or there, but when you are present, you're perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Huh? No, the thing about options is it's the best tool, like in the toolbox, to take any sort of trade that you could totally imagine. Any sort of position you want to get into, you can take with options, right? DeFi options are growing, like you said, and it's a new space, so you're not able to put on like these complex um, strategies quite yet. We're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. But you're basically using options. You're always net long, and you're using options to pray for the black swan, and if the black swan comes, you'll 100x. Is that kind of what you're looking at here, or you're just looking at downside protection on a rainy day because up only doesn't work every day, like you said?
A little bit different. All right. So, last year, not only did I decide to get into options, but I also decided to stop bitching and whining about range bound conditions. I did all that bitching and whining for 8+ years, right? And being the type of person that's like, stay out of the range, stay out of the chop, wait for trend. I just got tired of that. I observed many different traders better than myself routinely trading ranges and going, wow, how are they doing that? Right. And just finally going, you know what? They're better than me and I need to get to their level. So, what I've used options for is that notion that things are going to be ranging for indeterminate amounts of time and large amounts of time. So, there's always going to be a top part of the range, there's always going to be a bottom part of the range. So, why not sell the top part of the range, wait, X amount of days, week, 2 to 3 weeks. I even do options that are month out, right? And don't mess around too much in the middle. But the idea is, yeah, literally buy bottoms of ranges, sell tops of ranges, de-risk at the top, de-risk at the bottom, rinse and repeat. I want to be that person that pisses everybody off. They say that the market, conditions are predatory. I want to be the predator. So that's kind of what I've mainly been using it for, is range bound trading. And then towards the black swan, is, you're mentioning, yeah, that's just gravy, right? Who doesn't want this, enormous P&L from an exacerbated move? But for the most part, I'm just constantly taking, wins every other week, right? And then largely de-risking to the bottom, largely de-risking to the top, and just going flat to dollars. And I've been doing that for the past 3+ months.
You sound like everybody's end goal, right? I'm sure anybody who's just chiming in, who's maybe new to the option space, who's been getting chopped up on this range bound the last few months and this super low vol, down only vol since November. You sound like the king, like your picture right there. Everybody wants to be you, right? For us, it's a
Oh
little
yeah,
different
no,
because
I
we don't
absolutely
play
love it. It's
these.
constrained. Yeah, it's constrained. It's predictable.
Go ahead.
There's been. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's constrained. It's predictable. And then what I've also enjoyed options for, sort of masochistically, if you will, is you're really punished for your mistakes. If you choose the wrong strike, if you choose the wrong time, if you give yourself too little time for expiration, you have your mistakes amplified, and that could be in terms of losses, that could be in terms of hit rate. And I hadn't experienced that sort of masochism of being wrong since Forex in 2015, when I dabbled at it. And I'm always aiming to improve as a trader, and I think the sort of cockiness that is involved in trading is one thing, but with options, you kind of graduate another level. You're literally saying, date, time, and price. So that's been another thing too. It's really honed in my skill set to make it even more unforgiving, right? I don't get a bag. I don't get a token of defeat. I have to nail the trade.
Yeah, yeah. For us, it's a little different, right? Because we've never, well, recently we haven't been betting on like these black swans or these mega up moves. We've really just been selling the box, which basically is selling the both out of the money of the ends of the range, collecting data every day, keeping all the Greeks pretty much flat, not trying to be directional, not trying to be right, but always being a little cocky on the timeline, right? With how we set it up recently, as we've been running, I think just right before FTX, we've been running like a bot, and the bot is a lot smarter than us. And the bot is always trying to keep all the Greeks flat every 5 seconds or so. Um, Imagine like ETH moves like, I don't know, $200 in 1 second. Yeah, we'll probably get blown out and lose a hit. But in theory and in a perfect world, and if AWS isn't down and everybody else isn't down and the internet's not down, um, we should be okay, right? So maybe we're even on another level ahead of you just because we're doing automated stuff instead of manual clicking on the UI.
Yeah, no, I agree. What I'm trying to do constantly is distill things to like their lowest common denominator. I like very repeatable actions, and I know I'm up against the bots of the world and the people who've coded them. So my sort of repeatable thing is that there's always going to be, sort of a swing of a pendulum. I heard it referenced to the other day, where everyone gets really sort of excited as to where price is going to go, right? I call it like leapfrogging levels. When we're at 1730, there's the expectation that we're going to go to 17 or 1650, when in reality, 1730 might be the price, right? We go to 1750, the idea of going to 1800s, not unrealistic, but going to 1850, more unrealistic. And being that I've been that leapfrogging trader and that person pronouncing targets that they need one step before it, I want to cut that trader off, and I want to be that person that's like, not yet, not yet, not yet. And that is manual clicking, that is manual effort, but I don't believe in trading sort of in a different manner. Personally, I don't even have like trading on my phone, right? Like I have no API access. I want to be at the seat with my, setup, and I want to have, everything in place. So I'm kind of the opposite there in terms of the elbow grease.
No, you're like a pro tail trader, right? You're like a pro retail, right? You're not retail. You understand how the markets work. You understand the trades you want to take, the specific trades you're looking at, and you want to be in the seat. Yeah, a pro tail trader. Yeah, maybe we can talk more, and maybe I can help you out, and maybe hone in some things if you're interested, pulling data or whatever that makes your ideas a little bit better. It's funny because Tolga and I have been talking for months now. I've pretty much ever since I got on signed on with Premia, so January, about 6 months. And Tolga was saying like, would you trade ETH if it was a 20 vol product? And I think I said like I'm going to delete my Twitter or something. And we're getting pretty close, right? We saw realized vol in the high 20s, but we never saw volatility in the 20s. Thank God, right? S&P 500 is a 20 vol product. It's boring. Boomers trade it. We're in the crypto space for a high volatility action. How have you been dealing with this super low volatility since either FTX crash or since the ETH Shanghai Chappelle Shanghai update? Those are like the last two vol spikes.
He's been raking people on Premia.
So, a sort of simple answer is patience, right? But it's not simple at all. I, like everybody else, I get antsy, right? I want to take a trade. I want to be in a trade. As soon as I'm flat, I want to get back in there. It's really bad. But I have to tame that, right? And I tame that by playing video games. I tame that by spending time with my family. I do have a full-time job that I neglect less, when I'm not presented the right conditions. And a big, criteria that I implemented to success at the start of the year was just like full acceptance that price is not enough. And what I mean by that is I had previously been taking alerts just based off price, like horizontal level hits, this price, point, please alert me. I realized that you need volatility, right? And even if it's just, a 4-hour volatility. And to that end, I set alerts on like all my B band modifiers, right? To upper and lower boundaries. And I don't act until those trigger. And when I do act outside of their triggers, I usually pay for it. I usually pay for it with, data decay, or just in general, it's just a shit time to enter the trade, right? I have most success when the upper or lower boundaries are being tagged on the alerts, because something different has happened within the volatility. Even within constrained volatility, you're going to have those moves that deviate, and the only way you're going to get those is by having the deviation happen, right? Reacting more than predicting. And I love predicting. It's a big ego boost for when shit goes right. But reacting is mainly what I've been doing, and I'm kind of gonna stick to that basically. As a former attempted pro TCG player, I really don't want to get into that. I often, waited for my opponent to just finish their turn completely before even thinking about making a move. And I feel like that's the best approach for the markets for me.
You were a pro Magic the Gathering player? Is that what you said? MTG?
It's a trading card game.
TCG. No, it was a game called Versus System. It was made by former Magic the Gathering players, and I made some money with it. Traveled around the U.S. and had fun. But it was no way to make a living back then, and probably is still not.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. No, I thought you said MTG. I'm like, Jesus, Magic the Gathering throwing me back. I haven't played any card games besides poker in a pretty long time. Tolga, you want to get up in here and talk to me a little bit? We can get Tolga. We can talk a little Vol if he's around. Maybe not.
I see him there.
I guess not. All right, I see him. He's just not. Have you been following any sort of like institutional flows or anything like that? And have you institutional flows to maybe hone in some of your timing, like when you see somebody pick up, I don't know, super like previously in the last month, this guy has been picking up these crazy spreads, and it actually turns out he's wrong, right? He was buying June and selling September, and now he's unwinding this trade, and now he's trying to push out the trade to all the way out until the end of the year. And I guess it goes to show, like, even the biggest ETH player in the space is not always right. This guy was betting that we were going to get huge volatility by June 30th, and then low vol into September, actually. And he seemed to totally unwind that trade, or almost 100%. It seems he's about 100% right now. Do you ever look at any of these institutional flows, Ant?
I look at them, and I joined the Greeks.live Telegram about maybe a month and a half ago. And I have to be really sort of binary about my interpretations, right? I look at the expirations and I'm like, okay, short-term bearish, short-term bullish. And then I'm like, wait, they did the opposite there, like in terms of they did a put and a call. And then I kind of do the assessment of, are they kind of trying to cover both ends of the range and interpret it. But I will say it's not my biggest edge. I don't fully understand it, and I do unfortunately have this part about me that is always going, it doesn't matter the size of the person's wallet, they can falter like anyone else. So I'm not the best whale watcher because I've watched a lot of whales get harpooned in my time, but it is something that I don't turn a blind eye to. Jeff Liang's block trades summary that is either posted by him or someone else in that group is super useful, at least to get that short to midterm idea, right? It's hard to extrapolate what the person's going to do months out. But wow, yeah, some people do make these multi-month, structures. And I'm just like in awe because holy hell, I only want to think weeks out, right? Not months.
Yeah, especially in times like this, right? Like this guy was going all the way out till September, betting that we were going to get low vol, and I think it was like 100 million notional, right? So he didn't put out 100 million, right?
Yeah,
But that's
it
like
was
the total
big
size
and
of the trade.
Yeah, and it sort of reminded me of the J.P. Morgan, I believe it was a J.P. Morgan collar that was done 2 months ago, if not a little more, that was kind of scoffed at by the market, or market participants rather. And, this idea of what the hell are they doing, doing things in September or whatever. And all I could think is like, this is yet another case of the average market participant sort of downplaying a bank, right? Downplaying a large entity. And what I've seen over time, unfortunately, is that crypto Twitter or finance bros, people that I don't know, let's say 8 years experience or under. Let's window it that, right? Just two market cycles or one, market cycle, if you want to consider that, saying these shit talking banks, right, and shit talking large entities, and all I could think is like, all right, and don't join that. Observe it, interpret it, try to figure out what they're doing from a non-biased standpoint. I don't like banks as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to shit talk J.P. Morgan's Chase to put on a large trade 5 to 7 months out.
Yeah, that collar trade's pretty interesting because it basically just put like a cap on the market, right? They were like, "Oh, we'll make money in this area." They roll that trade every quarter. I don't know how long they've been running that trade, but it's a well known trade, right? And yeah, they have the Greeks live chat. That's always good. It's funny because if you just click in, you don't know if they're buying to close or selling to close, right? You don't know their whole book. You can't see what they're hedging with or exactly the total book, right? You're looking at one trade, or if you know the entity, maybe you can kind of piece together their idea. But there's some times where like there's like an insider, I guess I would call him an insider, comes in and buys about an hour before the news, and they seem to know something. Jeff has talked about this before, that there's these insiders, especially in the crypto market, right? There's insiders in every market, but specifically in the crypto market. Where they will come in about an hour before and load up on some random crazy trade, and it's like 100% win rate, right? So if you can ever find those guys, just those are the guys to copy trade.
Yep. Yeah. No, and I agree with that. Right. So, what I've done for a living at different points in time has been operator work, network operations or security operations work, and there's a lot of false positives. If anything, a core of the job is false positives. Just getting alerts where you're like, this is nothing. This is priority zero, informational, so on and so forth, and you're not going to find those, outliers such as that hour, trade unless you're being attentive, and you do have to wade through all the sort of fluff. And that's why I keep my sort of ear to the ground with that chat and other flows is I'm not going to pretend that most of it isn't noise, right? But you're not going to know noise from action unless you sort of put yourself through that. And yeah, I do think that there's always going to be that insider. You can't really stop human emotion from tipping off friends, family, whomever. So yeah, that's a definitive. Always going to happen. And the hour before is a bit interesting because I mean, holy shit, that's a bit flagrant. But you know, props to them.
Yeah, maybe you can just get away with that in the crypto market, right? Not the traditional market.
Marty, can you hear me? Sorry, I was having connection
We hear
Tolga,
you,
are you
Tolga.
back? Are
Awesome,
you
guys.
back?
I'm back. Yes, I'm back. I heard you guys were trying to ping me, and I couldn't hear anyone. It was a mess. So, question for you on like this idea of insider knowledge. We've talked about before
Mm.
where, when you trade like a macro product like ETH or Bitcoin, um, they have like identity crisis, right? So there, in some fashion, it's a risk-on trade. Other fashion, it's a inflation hedge, right? There's all these sort of narratives, and they can be conflicting in terms of
Digital gold,
yeah, right.
internet money.
So where would you see like like when
ultra
we
fast.
define like knowledgeable trading or insider trading, let's just call it knowledgeable trading. Like, how do you even know if they were just like, again, going to this like false positive thing, where how do you even know they know what direction the market's going to go? It's not as if the product has a fundamental or at least a consistent narrative that you would understand with a high level of like predictive value that it's going to react in a certain way given some news. Like, it's not always clear to me, like jumping in before a Fed announcement, that what's being said at that announcement is necessarily bullish or bearish at any given time. Like, even when you look at the markets now, I don't even think people understand if it's bullish or bearish. I think there's just this kind of everyone just wants to trade, but they're not really sure what's happening.
Yeah,
I would
I mean
say it's a
that
lot
was a
more
direct quote
nuanced.
from Jeff. I was on a.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marty.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, no, that was a direct quote from Jeff, right? Jeff is saying that, Jeff from Greeks Live, that there's these insiders that seem to know, and not on like these macro FOMC, Fed announcement hikes. It's usually on FTX, Binance News, SEC lawsuits. It's more of these specific ones that affect crypto, not this general FOMC, total macro stuff. It's more specific to the crypto space.
Gotcha. All right. So you're thinking like
I'm just
something
quoting Jeff
along the
here.
lines of like Binance is going to, like, they're being banned again X times over in the US or something, or whatever pending news.
Yeah, like just like
is
last
coming
week,
out
right?
that
No, yeah, just
people
like
don't
last
understand.
week,
Yeah.
right? Oh, like SEC's gonna come in and hammer them. SEC's gonna come in and pull a lawsuit. Oh, I don't know if the DOJ comes in. Well, somebody probably knows that. It's more about these specific crypto events. I don't know if it happened before or after FTX. I don't think anybody called FTX, right? I don't think anybody knew that time about FTX, right? You had people depositing millions, I'm doubling down, and the next day getting locked up, the money locked up.
Now, yeah, let's run with that though. Like, let's say that there is this idea that there's some negative news that's pending, or that you have some knowledge that it's going to be coming out. Right now in the macro space, like we've talked about this almost in every conversation of like we're hitting new lows from a Vol's perspective, right? And so the news keeps coming out, but Vol keeps heading lower. There does not seem to be anything creating a floor in the volatility standpoint. And obviously, Vol is very analogous to uncertainty, right? Like the more uncertainty there is, the higher the volatility tends to be or to persist within a market. And it seems like there is a lot of uncertainty, or maybe is there just not? Because it seems odd. Like, how would you? I guess the question is really for everyone. But like, how would you look at the space when you're seeing vol continually come in, yet there is this pending news that's coming out? Let's just say you even know what it is. How would you actually try to form a trade around that?
I mean, if I knew that there was going to be volatility, my main thing would be to taper expectations, as I've been doing, right? Even if I know the volatility is going to be there, because I see this all as constrained to the top or bottom, right? So I call it lowered expectations. I even, make a joke about the Mad TV, sketch, where it would be sort of having in the money as a kind of forefront idea, right? Where it's, I don't want to have these lofty target goals because anything's going to get smashed down. Right. So I'm not a big fan of, picking both directions. I am a, directional person. So I would just kind of do in the money to start the decision-making process. And then still have that expectation of, it doesn't matter how low I think it's going to go. I need to close soon. So it would be in the money and just kind of pre-decided and put it on. And yeah, I mean, as an insider, you're going to sit in some unknown theta, but are you really? Is it really unknown if you're a proper insider? But it would be in the money. I wouldn't do out of the money because hell, you might get front run by another insider. But yeah, it's just I have this notion that this is just continually compressing. Even when it does, break down or take a leg down, it just goes right back into compression.
Yeah, I mean, onto that, Tolga, right? Like, just look at, I don't have DVol up, but I have eViv and BViv from Volmex, which is a whatever, right? Another different product. eViv is down 6% and BViv is down 3.6%, 4% to the news, right? And you're like, oh, shouldn't that bring volatility? I think everybody's expecting this to bring volatility. But as we've seen, every news announcement, everything that comes in is a nothing burger, right? Nothing happens. Loris is in disbelief. We can still sling options. We can still sell vol. And it seems like there's no catalyst in the foreseeable future, right? I wrote this in the Premia ones, right? There's no Go ahead.
Sorry, I think there's like a delay or something. But yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Like you see vol crush whenever an event comes out, right? That's usually just standard mechanics. But then you're not seeing the delta move to kind of correspond with that. Like time and time again, every time there is a vol crush, there's the delta move's not enough to even cover the position. So being short ends up still being like as of right now, I think the market's exactly where it started before the meeting or before the announcement, right? Yet you got the vol crush that comes in. So it ends up being like just the vol seller continues to win here time and time again.
Yep, and Tolga, to sort of answer it another way, the other way I'm handling this vol crush is just longer positions, right? Not just a week out, right? I'm giving myself continually 2 to 3 weeks time, and then should there be a squeeze that goes a little longer than I'm expecting, I'm tossing a month at it because I am not only anticipating the natural sort of consolidation that happens when prices get jolted, right? There's always going to be the mini forms on low time frame, but the way this has been shaping up, I'm like, what? Screw it. June 30th, let's go. And I did that like 3 weeks ago. I decided to sell, or rather buy puts for 2K and 30K. And it was just this like, fuck it. It's going to take so long, right? And that's been playing out very well because it accounted for the sideways and then churn up, churn down, sideways, churn up. And then finally, we broke 27,250 and I could breathe. But like that, I don't think that's normal. I don't know what's normal, but I've always been okay with taking time for things. Like I said, I used to be a former bag holder of 50 plus coins, right? So I used to buy stuff that was down minus 75 to 90% and go, eventually I'm going to win, and then win 6 months to a year and a half later on like a 20 to 100x. So I'm good with the patience. I didn't expect to become this patient, but as long as the vol is going to be this bad, I'm going to continually date things long dated.
I like these super short dated daily, weeklies, and monthlies is pretty much as far as I'll go out right now. I think for the trading competition, I'm doing all the way out for my 7th, but normally we're just into dailies. It's easier for us to control and watch and handle. And when vol, like today, it's fucking so funny. Vol's coming down into the event. Vol should be like coming up into the event. There's hype. It's happening. It's about to happen. And then there's a crush. And it's so funny because it was going down into the event. And then there was the even worse crush, right? And with no catalyst in sight, no black swan. I think the Binance thing is kind of, I don't quote me, but I don't know I don't trade on Binance, so best of luck to all you Binance traders. But hopefully that goes through, and if that's a black swan, that's a hard one for the crypto community to swallow, and I think it's exactly what the U.S. is wanting to happen, but we seem to shrug that off. I mean, like Tolga said, we're the same price right before the announcement. We've been in this $1,000 range for, I don't know, too long. And with vol continually lower and lower, it's just a vol seller's paradise. And I don't know, I wrote about these these natural catalysts in the premium newsletter that I do. And essentially you're looking at 2024 for any sort of fun.
And for anyone who wasn't listening on the previous calls, Marty is going to go to legacy markets once crypto hits 20 vol, right? We're still going to hold you to that.
Back to legacy markets. I'll still write and I'll still be a observer like the wolf guy. But yeah, that's my bet, right? Like if we go back to 20 vol products, oh, you're better off trading AI at this point, right? Like, come on. That's the new hype. That's the new shiny toy everybody's trading. Let's go trade something fun. Nvidia's up 3% today. AMD's up 1.5%. And crypto's just nada, null. We got about, I don't know, we got 10 more minutes. We started a little late. I don't know our timing. DK, Cozy, anybody want to update on the time? Or are we sticking to the 1 hour slot? It's almost 10 o'clock here.
Yeah, let's stick to 11.
Okay, sounds good. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions from the audience? Nobody ever asks us any questions, and it makes Marty sad.
Also, we should
DK,
start
did we
doing
do any
in your Telegram chat
preset
if you got
questions?
Nah, I failed this week.
I have a question.
It was a rough
for you,
week.
Marty.
It was a rough week.
What are you?
Okay, Tolga.
What are you looking for? So, talk to us about the trading competition and try to leak some alpha for us. What are you looking for in the trading competition that you're seeing on the premium markets? What kind of opportunities have you been trading? Forgive me if you mentioned any of this earlier while I was having some tech issues, but I'm curious what you're looking at.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm counting how many positions I have open. I have 16. I have 16 short positions. Short calls.
So you're finding any
I don't
bid,
know
any
what
bid
happened,
anywhere, and
or
you're just hitting them.
yeah, I'm just slamming sell, right? I don't know. The trading competition's live on the test net for anybody who's chiming in or listening, right? You get 300,000 USDC, I think 100,000 ARB, 50 wrapped ETH, and 4 wrapped Bitcoin. Not, on testnet, guys, right? It's not free monies. It's not real monies, right? So you can buy, sell, trade. You
Well, hold
can
on. There
test
is real money. There is real
at
money
the
to be
end.
earned, though. DK, did you mention about the prizes and what's at stake for people in the trading competition?
I'll let Marty give a spiel first, and I'll go into the rewards.
Sounds good.
Sure. Yeah, it's on testnet, but there is real monies. There's real prizes. There's real subscriptions. DK can cover that one towards the end. To go back to your question, I have 16 short positions from calls, puts, and I don't know what happened or who did what, but somebody was selling or wanted to buy June 23rd, 25K puts, and for some reason they were bidding, $4,000 to $8,000. So I'm just hammering those every time they show up. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's somebody's trying to like spoof it and then pick it up on their own and I'm beating it to them. But I have 16 positions and all of them are above 50% besides 4 losers. And those are like ARB, June 16th, 1.2 calls that I sold for super low. But of course, it's not going to be 1.2 in 2 days, right? I'm just looking to hammer the ball. Magic's actually pinged me like, "Oh, what's the strategy here? What are you looking at?" Same kind of questions. I'm just hammering vol. I'm just selling everything I can. Any sort of bid that pops up, anything that's mispriced, it's all for the picking for Marty.
Yeah, we got to. I raised the ticket. So when you're depositing bid side, that like well, 2 different tickets. One is like okay, you're selling this option or you're buying this option. It doesn't quite make economical sense given like some sort of parameter, so we can stop getting you to stop sniping those. But yeah, we have like we're one of the main things we're trying to get out of this experience is like how can we improve this platform so that we have like an expert mode, a non-expert mode. For the non-expert mode, how can we make sure that there are guardrails in place so that like people aren't making silly decisions? Obviously it is paper trading, so like I'm sure people are doing some interesting things. But yeah, you're just sniping all of the options that are mispriced based on what I saw. So yeah, I mean, this is good. This is good feedback, though. This is like this is the kind of stuff that we want to see. We want to see people stress test it. We want to see people try to find arbitrage opportunities, find things that are mispriced. That's that's what it's there for. So at least someone's utilizing. So at least someone's got to buy. It might as well be you.
Here's
Marty.
a question for you, Marty. We've talked a lot before, like on why we went, the route of trading and because pricing options are difficult for the majority of people. What to you is a mispriced option? What type of options are you looking for to sell? Or is that secret sauce and not trying to leak to the audience?
What options am I specifically looking to sell? Well, it's easy when
just like
they're
what to
when they're
you
supposed
is
to be
mispriced,
$20.
right?
When it's supposed to be $20 and somebody wants it for $500, I'll sell that all day long, right? That's just like I don't know, beginner or not understanding how to use the platform, right? That was like that has nothing to do with Premia, right? That's somebody doing something stupid or maybe testing, right? Because I could only pick up 2 or 3 or 5, and I've just been stacking that on. When it comes to normal price options that aren't totally skewed in price like this June 23 $1,600 put is $32. I sold it for $500 and something dollars, and as soon as I sold it, I was up 96%. That's like, stupid, right? It doesn't even make any sense. So when it comes to regularly price options, into the news event today, it was clear that vol was coming down into the event instead of coming up into the event. So I was looking at anything in outside of the box, right? So I was looking at 27K calls. I was looking at ARB 1.3 calls, something that just doesn't really make sense. And maybe I'm picking up pennies in front of a steamroller, like always, but I never saw like, oh, is ARB going to be above 1.3 in 2 days? I don't think anything on Arbitrum is happening that major that's going to push the price, to insanity in the next couple days. So I'm just selling, right? There's no delta hedging here, no any sort of hedging here right now. So I'm just looking at selling mispriced options to people who don't know what they're doing, fair, and 2, just selling things that are way outside of the money that don't seem really plausible.
Okay, so you are actually doing deposits into the pools as sell side liquidity.
No, he's I think he's selling into bid side liquidity.
You're market selling. Have you
I'm
done any
selling it to
actual
bids.
like LPing? Are you? Because you could also, I
So,
mean, you
no,
can do very similar
no.
strategies or add alpha through just being a liquidity provider and just have a sell only bias, right? That could be.
Yeah,
It's a
no.
more passive
Somebody
way,
was
right? Of
saying,
instead of having a click trade.
yeah. It was like one day, the time zone's totally screwed up, right? So last night I was up till like 1 in the morning, waiting, talking to Magics in the Telegram or in the Discord, then talking to Magics, like, what the hell's going on, guys? And then, I don't know, I woke up at 4 in the morning and saw all these mispriced options, and it's like my birthday day. My wife's like, "What the hell are you doing up at 4 in the morning?" I'm like, "Honey, I gotta win this competition. If I don't win this competition, then I'm a failure, basically." And then the only time I've ever done the pools, I've just been selling into bids. But every time that I've done the pool was somebody was saying that, oh, why is it $130 to do the pool, the gas fee? And this was like 1 minute later, the gas was like, 50 cents. And I was showing them like, I don't know what that issue was. Just give it some time, refresh the page, check your browser. So I haven't deposited into pools. Maybe I'll do a Marty pool and I'll get back to you, Tolga, on my feedback on that. Okay. DK, you
All
want
right,
to
cool. I'm
cover
gonna
the
end it
competition?
with our yeah. I'll end it with the plug. So look, it's a risk-free competition. It's paper trading. All we ask is you come on. We have an academy course. It just goes through the different feature sets that are available during the trading competition that are new in V3. Super quick quiz at the end. We give you some testnet ETH. It whitelists your account, and then whenever you're ready, you can come over to the app.Premia Blue, the actual app on the site, and claim those tokens, right? And so Marty went through the allocation that we give you. We have 3 different markets that are live. We have the R market, ETH, and Bitcoin all paired to USDC. And you're free to deploy pools. You're free to buy. You're free to sell. And we want people to play around with it. It's a new primitive in the space, in that like our pools are made up of like short options and collateral. So I think that a lot of people are going to start for good of the industry, get to learn what that looks like of selling options, going short a call or short a put. And so, yeah, we have. I did the math last night. Right now, it's at about 178K in USD in prizes, and by utilizing the platform, by taking part in some of the social quests, we are tracking all of the on-chain events, like all the use of the platform. We're tracking that off-chain, so it's not gamed. But we'll do a weekly sync where we'll populate the points for you on those, and then you can spend those points however you want, right? So we got, we have tons of different platform subscriptions, pro subscriptions, so like Masari. We're working on some for like Amber Data. We got a few different ones on the platforms, Dex tools, stuff like that. And then we also have the cash prizes, right? So we have a bunch that are the Premia tokens, USDC tokens, and then even we'll pay for the premiums on an ARB call, or we'll do the equivalent on a put, up to you. And well, that's so you'll redeem the points that you've got, and we'll mint an option for you, right? So there's a bunch of different stuff. We got Diablo game keys. So you can spend the points how you want, but then in addition to that, we have some special categories that have like ring fenced prices, right? And so that's what Marty's shooting for. He's shooting for the most overall P&L prize. But we also have most for most providing liquidity. We have the most for just from the trading side of things. We have some special ones that we'll announce at the bottom. There'll be some of the traditional ones you see, like clown prizes, like most trades participated in, but lowest P&L kind of stuff. But yeah, a bunch of cool stuff. You can partake at any time. If you didn't start yesterday, like you're not going to be disadvantaged. We have continuous new quests that are coming out on the social and side of things on a regular basis. And for all the big money cash prizes, that are redeemable, we'll definitely give everyone a 24-hour notice on that. But yeah, we'll start trickling out those prizes starting tomorrow. So we'll start with some merch tomorrow, and then we'll start with some of the game keys, and then you can either withhold your points, you can spend them. It's up to you. Some game theory elements on the point economy as well. So have fun. It's there to learn, right? We just want a risk-free environment where you can learn how to trade options. If you end up using Premium when we go live, awesome. If you just become a market participant and you find a different platform that you want to use, great too. We're just trying to build the sector and the users in the sector too, because it's not that complicated, especially for a lot of the people that you guys are managing margin positions with perps in DeFi. Like if you can do that, you can trade a vanilla option. So that's all.
I agree. Ant, Tolga, DK, Cozy, thank you guys for coming on. Ant, thank you for coming on. You're welcome anytime. Just ping Marty.
Sounds good. No, thanks for having me, guys. I'm pretty much a beginner in all this. I joked about how I'm like, okay, call, buy, put, sell, and I'm learning a lot from all you guys. The platforms made it, really easy for me to transition from, no option trading at all to going, okay, I got this over a couple months, and you guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it. All right, appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ant. Thank you all, Marty. Always a
Peace
pleasure.
out, pimps. Talk to you
Don't go
guys.
too hard on Loris this month. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
See you guys.